Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I am Ahmed Mumtaz Mustahsan, your teacher for CSC 141 Introduction to Computer Programming. In the last lecture, we talked about the if constructs along with logical and relational operators. Today, we will be discussing the remaining two types of loops. You remember we talked about for loop, but today we would like to discuss some additional forms of the loops. So let's start with the new lesson. Okay, before I discuss the loop, I would like to introduce you the C in and C out. You remember that in the very first lecture, when we wrote our first program in C, I used cout statement to display the data on the console or on the output window. Although we have learned printf and scanf functions to print the data and read the data from the keyboard. To print the data we use printf, and to read the data from the keyboard we have used scanf functions. But at this time I would like you to concentrate more on loops, do while loops, and the other one that I will discuss today, while loop and do while loop and switch, three constructs of the loops. So I've decided to use C in and C out, which is a facility provided by the C++ to read the data from the keyboard and print it onto the display. So first of all, C in, console in, is an option for console input which is provided in C++ environment. For that purpose, you remember that we included two statements in the beginning of our program, which were include IOStream and using namespace std. This IOStream that represents the standard input stream. Maybe in some last lectures I'll be teaching you these IOStreams, which is a very powerful stream, but at this stage we would like to use it the most simpler form of this C in and C out. So we can retrieve the characters from C in either as formatted data using the extraction operator. Okay, this operator that I have shown, which is a double the greater sign. Okay, so this is called as an extraction operator. Okay, I got it. This is called extraction operator. So we can use formatted or unformatted, but the good point is that you are not bothered about the format specifier and the format control or the escape sequence even. So I would like to use it to simplify the next few lectures so that you can concentrate some other concepts of the programming. It's very simple. These are the two statements that you will put it. Make a template, hello world wala template use kijiye for rest of your program's learning. So you defined a variable, suppose it's $x. Irrespective of which variable type you have defined, you can simply use C in this redirection or extraction operator X. Don't worry whether you are supposed to use %f or %e or %d format specifier. It's very simple. C in this, that's it. That's why I have decided that for next few lectures I'll be using this C in and C out so that you can concentrate more on other lessons as compared to your concentration was on printf and scanf. Similarly, you can use the console output. You can use cout, which is an option for the console output provided by C++ environment. and again you are required to include these two statements in your program, rather in the beginning of your program before your main. Remember, that's the direction of this extraction operator. The direction of the extraction operator cin was right side, and the direction here is towards cout. Okay, so be careful. So you can read the formatted and unformatted data from the keyboard by cin, and you can display formatted and unformatted data using cout. Example is, you can define double x and y, read two floating point values irrespective of format specifier, c in x, c in y, then you can output cout this. Or there are two arguments, you just use cout once, rather three arguments. Cout once, first argument, which is a string, output the data there. Then you can use the main argument here, x plus y divided by 2.0, and instead of \n, that you may use it with the original form under the double quotes, or you can use end line. Okay, return 0, something unexpected we have included in this slide. Basically, you might have noticed that we used void main, but today we are using int main. So void main means program is returning nothing, so we use void. But here, since we are using int, so the system, the operating system, expect that the program is going to return something, so it is returning 0. 0 means successful, non-zero means unsuccessful execution of the program. I'll come back to this when I will teach you the functions. So I have unintentionally used it, so that's why I've decided to explain it to you, but just don't worry about that. Come up to our main topic, loop. So we have discussed for loop in a lecture, couple of lectures back. So today we will discuss another form of loop, which is called while loop. First, I would like to give you an example, then I will talk about it in detail. So we initialize a loop variable outside, int j is equal to -4. Then there is a condition while j is less than or equal to 0. Remember, no semicolon here. Then the body of this while loop count cout j, and then the new line character that is equal to \n. Then you keep on incrementing j. So it is the body of the loop is executed that will increment the loop counter, and you test it here. Whenever this value exceeds this test, or whenever this test fails, it will not go inside the body of the loop. Okay, just now for loop mein tha, if the test is not true, then the body of the loop was not executed even once. Similarly, agar ye test true nahi hoga, the body of the loop will not be executed. So keep on repeating these, the body of this loop, unless until the test is true. So what are the tips? It is a general form of while. Again, it has got three components: initialization loop counter, then the test, which is with the keyword while, test loop counter using a condition. आप इसमें ऑपरेटर यूज कर सकते हैं और कोई सा भी ऑपरेटर. Usually we use relational operator, but even you can use the logical operator also in the test. If the test results true, then and only then it will execute the body of this. In the body of the loop, you will be required to do anything which also include the increment or decrement of the loop counter, because you need to terminate the loop also. Or there is another way through which the loop could be terminated, that is not incremented or decremented. It could be the input data read from the keyboard. Okay, move forward. The statements within the while loop keep on getting executed. वो जो body of loop के अंदर मैंने आपको बताया ना statement से, they will keep on executing until the condition being tested remains true. Just like for loop. When the condition becomes false, the control passes to the first statement after the body of the while loop. यानी कि while loop पूरी की पूरी क्रॉस करके just while loop के बाद जो next statement है, the control will be transferred to that particular statement. In place of the condition, there can be any other valid expression. आप condition की जगह कोई भी if flag कर सकते हैं, if not flag कर सकते हैं, जैसे मैंने भी आपको बताया कि you can put anything, relational operator or the logical operator or any arithmetic expression also. If the arithmetic expression is computed to be non-zero value, computed to a non-zero value, means it is true, then the body of the while loop will be executed. But if the expression is computed to 0, then the body of the while loop will not be executed. Yes, as the expression evaluate to a non-zero value, the statement within the loop would get executed. क्यों? क्योंकि non-zero is considered as true. So there are few examples. While I is less than 10, less than equal to 10, or I is greater than equal to 10 and j is less than 15. Okay, not just single operator, single counter, yeah, loop controlling variable. Instead of 1, here we are using 2. I is greater than equal to 10 and j is less than equal to 15. अब देखिए, you should be very careful. Precedence सबसे पहले arithmetic operators की, उसके बाद relational operators की, और उसके बाद इसकी. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? It will first test I is greater than equal to 10. If it is true and j is less than equal to 5, it is also true. Do you remember in the last lecture we talked about it, that x is true and y is true, then the result is true. If any of these two values is false, the result is false, and it will result false, means that the body of the while loop will not be executed. Okay, some more combination, very interesting. J is greater than 10 and b is less than 15 or c is less than 20. हम बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं अपनी मर्जी से. It's making it more and more complicated, more and more useful, more and more productive. But you got to be more and more experienced and should have more and more knowledge. As a rule, the while must test a condition that will eventually becomes false, otherwise the loop would be executed forever, indefinitely. मीन्स के कभी ना कभी तो इस कंडीशन को फॉल्स होना चाहिए. अगर ये कंडीशन कभी भी फॉल्स नहीं होगी तो लूप विल कीप ऑन एग्जीक्यूटेड, ताहयात चलता रहेगा. आपका ये लूप कभी ब्रेक नहीं होगा अनलेस अनटिल कि आप ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम से जाके इस प्रोग्राम को, टास्क को ब्रेक ना करें. ओके, I is equal to 1, while I is less than equal to 10, see out I end new line. So what is an error? इस प्रोग्राम में क्या error है? It has got an indefinite loop. Why indefinite loop? क्योंकि I की value is equal to 1 and it will always remain less than equal to 10. You are not incrementing or decrementing the value of I. So the loop increment decrement is missing. So it is an endless loop, indefinite loop. So this is an indefinite loop since I remains 1 forever. The counter will not change, so the loop is not going to end. Okay. Therefore, how can we correct this program? Now we will put the loop increment here, I++, so that will correct this problem, and this time the loop will terminate after printing the values of I from 1 to 10. So you can increment the counter or you can decrement the counter. So you need to basically update the counter. The same loop you can execute from 10 to 0. 10 to 0. You initialize the value of I equal to 10, and this time it will start from 10 and keep on decrementing the value of the counter until it reaches to 0 and your program is terminated. Okay. You can also use the floating values also. Not necessary you always use the integer value. Here you can use the floating value also, and I just leave it to you. Just type this same on the environment that I have helped you creating on your computer, and find out how it is decremented and what is the result. I'll give you the answer in the next lecture. So you can decrement the counter not necessarily by 1. You can decrement it as per your own choice. Let us take another exercise. Here we say that we start I is equal to 1 and say that while I is less than equal to 3 to 7, 6, 7. You keep on increasing the value. This program will once again execute forever. Why? Because the maximum integer value that you can have is 32767. Once you increase this value, it is not 32768. Rather, it becomes a negative value. When it becomes a negative value, then it will keep on incrementing once again from -1. -32768 is basically -1. I'll sometime inshallah I'll teach you also that how does it happen. Okay? So when I becomes 32768, this value falls outside the valid integer range and it goes to a negative value, and once again it will keep on adding the number, and the loop will not end. So you should also know that what should be the maximum value of a particular variable that you have defined. Okay. Similarly, you can try this out. I is equal to 1, while I is less than equal to 10. The cout, you can print the value of I. Is this time it will first print the value of I, then it will increment that. It's very simple. We have done that many times. There is an error in this particular program. What is that error? Look the construct here once again, वो जो मैंने आपको last time भी बताया था कि if you use a semicolon here, means that the while loop will have a body of the while loop is null. Body of the while loop will be equal to this semicolon. And it's mean that I will never ever change within this body of the loop, and this will run forever. Why? Let us. It will be converted to this, means that there is a white space, for example, between this semicolon and this one, and semicolon is a valid statement which is equal to a null statement. So this while loop will keep on executing the null statement, means do nothing, do nothing, do nothing indefinitely, and the value of I will remain the same because it will not be doing anything. It will not be updating the value of I, so it will not be printing anything, and it will not be updating the value of I, and hence it will again be an indefinite loop. So please be careful using this semicolon, because a semicolon unnecessarily placed at the end of the for statement or within the at the end of the while loop construct determines that you have got a null body of that for loop or the null body of that while loop. So you got to be very careful, because otherwise your system will hang up and you will not be able to find out what is the reason that is making this program executing forever. Okay, so you can increment, decrement, do whatever. You can use any arithmetic expressions. Remember that we have discussed all these expressions. This is increment, auto increment or decrement, auto increment before or after, auto decrement before or after. This is, you can have x is equal to x plus 1 or x plus 2, or you can just use it as if plus an equal sign. Similarly, you can use it as minus an equal sign, and multiplication, multiplication or equal sign, division, division or equal sign, and similarly modulo. So we have learned all these ways through which we can update the loop variable or the loop counter. Once again, the same error we have put up here. First, the comparison of the value of I is 10 is performed, and then the increment of I takes place here. It will execute. Why? Because within this body of the loop, although you have put up here semicolon, although it is not going to print the value of I each time this loop is executed. This loop will execute 10 times starting from 0. First it will use a value 0 is less than 10, increment that, then it will do nothing, increment the value, increment the value. When the value of I reaches to 10, then the loop is terminated, and this statement will then be executed, which will print the value of I is equal to 10 at the new line. So it will only print one single value, not all the values that you have updated within the increment counter here. Okay, same goes, you can keep on decrementing it. If I is equal to 0 plus I, you just increment it value before, and this time you have not used a pointer here. The first increment takes place, then the comparison is performed, but this time it will print all the values here because you have not used the semicolon here. Okay, so please type this program in your environment, run the program, and see the difference of all the 2 and 3 combination that I have just explained to you. OR loop. The loops that we have used so far execute the statements within them a finite number of times, less than 10, greater than 10, up to 100, up to 1000. You just keep on executing the loop for a specific number of time. But there are situations in the real time that the loop is to be executed up to unexpected number of times, depending upon the situation, depending upon the data. For that purpose, the loop can be terminated even without executing the body of the loop. So it is basically the result, it is basically the loop variable which you are testing in the testing part of that particular loop. So how it will happen, I will give you a very good example for that. First of all, let us concentrate on another type of loop which is called do while loop. इससे पहले हमने पढ़ा है while loop. Now we are studying the do while loop. Do while की format क्या है? Do, then the statement or the body of the loop, then the while condition terminated by the semicolon. This is very important. It must terminate by a semicolon because this makes the whole construct of the do while loop. Its functionality is exactly the same as that of the while loop, with the difference that the testing is done at the end of the body of the loop. After executing the statement of the set of the statement, we have at the end the while condition, which is testing condition of that loop. So what does it mean? It means that your body of the loop will be executed at least once, even if the condition fails. Then since the testing is done at the end, therefore it will ensure that the body of the loop will execute at least once. So while loop में क्या है कि if the condition fails in the beginning, the body of the loop is not going to execute it even for once. but do while loop के अंदर this is the difference, that there is a guarantee that the body of the loop will be executed at least once. क्यों? क्योंकि टेस्टिंग हम कर रहे हैं तमाम एग्जीक्यूट स्टेटमेंट्स को बॉडी ऑफ द लूप को एग्जीक्यूट करने के बाद. ओके, लुक एट दिस एग्जांपल. दिस इज द सिंटैक्स जो मैंने भी आपको दिखाया था. यू हैव गॉट दिस डू स्टेटमेंट, देन द बॉडी ऑफ द लूप, that since it contains more than one statement, you are bound to put it into the braces. Then you put cout, enter a number, read that number. This is cout, cin. Okay, forget about the format specifier, forget about the format, just read the data from the keyboard. And now square of the number is this number. Okay, so you can see the power of this cout and the convenience. Without using the format specifier, you can use one cout and keep on passing different arguments one after the other. It will print all the data, whatever you will pass it on through this operator, extraction operator. Do you want to continue or want to enter another number? Yes or no? You will read the data in another. Another is a character that you have defined. It is a character another. So whatever character you type here will be read into this cn. And note that cn does not have any address operator now. Simple and easy. Use the variable name as it is. It will read the data in another. Now it will test. If you have pressed yes, it will go back up again because the result is true. If the result is true, it will go up again and keep on executing the data. But if you press any number other than y, it could be n, it could be carriage return, it could be any character, then it is no, the test will fail, means it's not successful, means you don't want to repeat this. So this body will execute at least once before making this test. Okay, dear students, please once again be careful. Loop variable, which one is loop variable? This is the another character. We are using it to control this particular do while loop. Then this is the body of the loop, starting with do, no semicolon here. Body of the loop enclosed in braces. Then while statement, while test. Be careful, this is mandatory. This is mandatory, okay, because it's starting from here and finishing it at this time. So everything is enclosed within the statement. Do, body of the loop, test, while statement with test, close the while statement, and then the semicolon. So that makes it a complete do while statement. So it must be terminated by semicolon. So when you run this statement, suppose when you run this program, you enter a number, then it will give you the printout, ask you whether you want to repeat it, yes or no, then go back, keep on running it. So how this will run? This is a sample output. Enter a number, suppose you have entered 5, square of 5 is 25, your program will print, then it will ask, want to enter another number, yes or no? You said yes. Be careful. If it is showing a small letter, then you should put here small letter. Why? Because you are testing here a small letter. If you print the uppercase Y, this, it will not be considered as Y. Okay? Unless until you make the provision. And how can you make the provision? I'll teach you in some other sample program. So next time you entered 7, square of 7 is 49. Do you want to run it again? This time you say no. If you say no, means the test is not true, it is not Y, the program will terminate. Okay? So it's an OR loop. Unexpectedly it can end. It can end depending upon the data you have provided to this do while loop. Okay? That's very important. Alternative way. Can we do it with for or with while? Let's see. How can we do the same thing with for loop? Suppose for loop we have defined character another, we have initialized it to yes, by default it has got a value yes, integer num. For no initialization here, test another is equal to y, yes another is equal to y, no increment here, enter a number, read a number, give the output, want to read another number, read it out. When you read a new number, new character here, see in yes or no, for loop will take it back, will execute this test condition. Without this increment part, it will run. So it is doing the same thing, but the difference is that you made this program possible by putting yes in the beginning in this, making this particular test successful. आपने फोर्स किया है कि ये टेस्ट आपका सक्सेसफुल हो बाय पुटिंग अ यस इन दी अनदर. तो पहली दफा इसके अंदर आपने ऑलरेडी ये इसको ट्रू किया है, जबकि डू वाइल के अंदर इट वाज नॉट नेसेसरी. पहली दफा ये एग्जीक्यूट होता है, नेक्स्ट टाइम टेस्ट करेगा. ओके, वी कैन डू इट. इफ वी कैन डू इट विद फॉर, वी कैन डू सेम थिंग विद वाइल आल्सो. Once again we will do the same thing. Put y here, initialize it, put it there, force this test to be successful, then enter the data, run it another time. So it will be the same thing as we have done it with do while statement. So what you have learned basically, there is a minor difference between working of while and do while loops. What is that difference? This difference is the place where the condition is tested. For loop mein the testing is done before executing the body of the loop. While loop mein the testing is done before the executing of the body of the loop. So your loop may or may not execute at least once. But in the do while loop the testing is done at the end. The while tests the condition before executing any of the statements within the while loop. As against this, the do while tests the condition after having executed the statement within the loop. ये देखिए इसका flow chart. Initialize करते, body of the loop is executed, increment, decrement, update, whatever you want. Then at the end you test. If the test is true, then it will go for the next time. Test is false, it will end. So you ensure that the body is executed at least once. Basically we use the for loop when we have a fixed number of iterations known pre-hand. Similarly we can use the while loop when there is an unexpected termination of the program. For loop में तो आप initialize करते हैं, मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ आइट्रेशंस देते हैं, इंक्रीमेंट और डिक्रीमेंट करते हैं लूप वेरिएबल को. सो यू हैव गॉट द कंट्रोल हाउ मेनी टाइम्स यू वांट टू एग्जीक्यूट दैट. सो दैट आइडियल लूप कंडीशन कुड बी द फॉर लूप. इन द व्हाइल लूप you can use it when there is an unexpected termination of the loop. You can use a while loop. और तीसरा कब यूज करते हैं do while loop? When you want that your body of the loop should execute at least once. Then you use do while loop. तीनों का फर्क समझ आया? For loop में फिक्स चीजें पता है आपको. You know loop variable, maximum number of iteration, increment, decrement, everything you know it. While loop, unexpected termination of the test condition. Use while loop. और तीसरा do while, when you want that the body of the loop should be executed at least once, then you use do while loop. So difference, you should know all the three. Break statement, something that you can use it within the loop. अब कौन सा loop? कोई सा भी. For loop, while loop or do while loop, you can use the break statement. What it does? There are certain situations where we want to jump out of the loop instantly without executing the remaining statement, without waiting to get back to the condition test. For loop test true होता है तो आप execute करते हैं, test false होता है आप execute नहीं करते. While loop में जब test false होता है you don't execute the body of the loop. Do while loop में when test goes false, you don't execute the loop. But if you want that the test should be ignored, you want to come out of the loop immediately, then you can use, at that situation, you can use the break statement. The break is a keyword that allow you to do that. Anytime you use a break statement, the control comes out of the loop. When a break is encountered inside any loop, मैंने बताया किसी भी loop पे आप use कर सकते हैं, control automatically passes to the first statement after that loop. Usually break is associated with if statement where you test certain condition. If certain condition occurs, then you use a break statement to come out of the loop. So this is going to be an example. Okay, int num I, enter a number. You enter any number, divide, let's say I is equal to 2, then you keep on dividing the number with the loop variable. Basically what we are doing here, we are trying to find out whether a number is a prime or not. Do you know what is a prime number? The prime number has no divisor. It is divisible on itself or 1. 1 और अपने अलावा किसी और नंबर पर डिवाइड नहीं होता, उस नंबर को हम प्राइम नंबर कहते हैं. तो किसी भी नंबर का अगर डिवाइजर देखना है कि वो होता है या नहीं, डिवाइड होता है या नहीं, वी कीप ऑन डिवाइडिंग द नंबर फ्रॉम 1 से लेके, अगर नंबर इज n है तो n-1 तक उसको ट्राई कर सकते हैं. ओके, लेकिन वी कैन ऑप्टिमाइज इट ऑल्सो. आई विल टेल यू हाउ कैन वी ऑप्टिमाइज इट. सो यू एंटर अ नंबर, डिवाइड इट, start trying it, the divisor from 2 to n-1 आप ट्राई करें, और अगर इसका इंटीजर रिमाइंडर 0 आ जाए, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि उसका प्राइमर, उसका डिवाइजर एग्जिस्ट करता है. फॉर एग्जांपल नंबर इज 4, you divide the number by I here, I divided by the num minus 1. If I is less than num minus 1, okay, this is the test. Here you divide the number. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 0. So obviously 4 is not a prime number. You need not to test 3. You need not to test any other number. You can break and you can come out of the loop. Otherwise, you keep on incrementing it. And if your divisor is equal to the number, then obviously it is a prime number. You can write down here. System pause. Do you remember हम use करते थे get ch, a dummy instruction that forces the system to stay until you enter something from the keyboard. The same thing you can do it with the help of a system built-in function which is called system, and you pass it on a keyword or this called pause. When you pass this pause to the system, it does the same thing as we used to do it with the help of a dummy get ch or get che function. How can we improve this? Instead of dividing the number, for example 59 is the number, instead of dividing it from 1 to 58, instead of dividing n-1, how can you optimize it? You can divide it by 2, क्योंकि अगर किसी भी नंबर का डिवाइजर उसके हाफ से ज़्यादा होगा, वो उस पर डिवाइड नहीं होगा. तो you can divide it up to 29. मैक्सिमम डिवाइजर जो इसका हो सकता है वो 29 है. So what you can do, you can say if I is equal to num divided by 2, उसके हाफ तक है, then you can find the divisor. Please try it. This is a very interesting improvement that you can done into this program, and you can compute the prime number. And then you have to put a test also here. Think about it. What should be the value here? So that you should determine, because it is not going to num this time, because your loop will terminate at the half stage. So how you will determine that a number is a prime number? So I leave it to you. Just try to think about it and I will put the result on the solution onto the web portal. So this is the output. If you enter a number 5, the system will say press any key to continue. This is a prime number. If you enter a number is equal to 9, not a prime number, press any key to continue. Okay. In this program, the moment num %i turns out to be 0. That is, the number is completely divisible to that number, which determines that the number has a divisor. If the number has a divisor, it means that the number is not a prime number. But if the number does not have any divisor, the remainder will never be 0, means any number is not going to be completely divisible to that particular number, so it will always have a non-zero remainder, so you can determine that the number is a prime number. जिस तरह हमने बाकी if में nested if पढ़ा, हमने for में nested for पढ़ा, इसी तरीके से while में nested while पढ़ा. Similarly, we have a nested while loop. We can have a while loop within the while loop. So we can say that while I plus plus is equal to 10, then the body of the loop is another while loop. Okay. So it says like that. System pause. Please run this program again. Run this program again in the environment and try to find out what is the output. Means there is, it will pick a value of I from here. Initially the value of I is equal to 1 the first time. It will execute for I is equal to 1, it will execute from j from 1 to 20. For I is equal to 1, the j will be equal to from 1 to 20. It's not print something. When the value of j, so it will print from j is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, it will print. But once the value of j is equal to 5, this inner loop will be terminated. Every time the value of j is equal to 5, the inner loop will be terminated. But once the value of j crosses 5, but how can it will cross 5? It will not cross 5 because the j is initialized to 1, and every time it comes up to this one, the value of j will start from the previous value that was left. So that's why I say that it's a very interesting to find out what is the output. Read out the output on the output screen. It has got pause so that you should be able to read out and then try to link it up, how the output is being displayed onto the screen. Every time it will keep on printing for one single output, the pause will stop the screen. So try to analyze that how the values of the variable are being changing. Why the value of j above 5 are also printed? It is something you have to think about it, and you have to find it out that why it is printing. Okay. If not, then you can ask me from the portal and I will be explaining it to you. So this could be the output, but I just leave it again to you to just find out. Okay, the continue statement. Just like break statement, we have got another statement which is a continue statement. The difference between the break and the continue statement is that in some programming situation we want to take the control to the beginning of the loop. Break में क्या था? We wanted to come out of the loop. अब इसमें continue में we want that the control should go to the beginning of the loop, and all the instructions after that continue statement should be skipped. But these are the instructions which are within the body of the loop. आप सिर्फ उसको skip करना चाहते हैं situation के अंदर, loop से बाहर नहीं जाना चाहते, then instead of using break you can use a continue. Continue is a keyword that allows us to do this. When the continue is encountered inside any loop, control automatically passes to the beginning of the loop. यानी कि बाकी स्टेटमेंट जो है वो आपकी स्किप हो जाती हैं. A continue is usually associated with then, जिस तरह break if के साथ associated था, continue भी किसी condition को test करेगा, so it is usually associated with an if statement. Here we can see that I is equal to 1 less than equal to 2, तो I की वैल्यू होगी 1 and 2, similarly J की वैल्यू 1 or 2. So if I is equal to 1, continue means don't print out this C out statement. अगर I और J की वैल्यू बराबर हो तो don't print out. So what could be the output? I is equal to 1 and J is equal to 2. J is equal to 2 and I is equal to 1. So I1 or J1 and I2 and J2 will not be printed here, because whenever the value of I and J is same, the loop goes back to the end, means goes back to the start of the next loop. So means that this particular part of the loop will not be executed. Okay. This I have already explained, that value of I is equal to J, then the control is transferred to the start of the next loop. So let's summarize all the loops once again. The three types of loops are available in C. कौन से? For, while and do while. The break statement takes the execution control out of any loop. The continue statement skips the execution of the remaining statement in the body of the loop and transfers the control to the beginning of the next loop, The do while loop ensures that the statement within the body of the loop are executed at least once. जबकि for and while loop जो है, they test the condition and then you may not run the body of the loop even for once. So we face the situation where we require to make a choice between a number of alternatives rather than only one or two. So you have to take the decision whether you want to use a for loop, whether you want to use a while loop, or whether you want to use a do while loop. C provides a special control statement that allows to handle such cases effectively rather than using the series of if statements. There are certain conditions where you have got to test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible outputs. So for that purpose we have got a statement which is called a switch statement. इसकी अच्छी एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको ये देता हूँ that sometimes you call to any call center, any number, to a bank or any number provided by the your ISP or your mobile subscriber or the mobile operator. When you call to a mobile operator, you listen a voice saying, press 1 to do this, press 2 to do this, press 3 to do this, press 0 to talk to the operator. So you have got a menu, and that menu has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or maybe 0, 7, 8 or 10 or maybe more options depending upon which button you have pressed on the keyboard or pressed on your mobile phone or pressed on your phone. So how can we write a program that should be able to test all these eventualities? We can write down with the help of a statement which is called a switch statement. The control statement allows us to make a decision from the number of choices, and this is why it is called switch, or sometimes it is called switch case default. I explain you in the next slide that why we call it as a switch case default, because it has got switch, it has got case, it has got default. All the three keywords are used in switch, so we call it as switch case default statement. This is the syntax, general syntax of the switch statement. Switch integer expression. Within the parenthesis, we must have an integer expression. We must have a integer variable or integer expression, or something that has got the integer value. Then we can keep on testing. If this expression results to 1, then do this. If this expression result to 2, then do this. If the result expression is 3, do this. If does not come any of these condition, then whatever the value of this expression is, do this. So this is called default value. So this statement has got a switch, this statement has got case, rather it has got cases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many cases as you want, and then it has got one special case which is called a default case. If your condition does not meet to any of the case, then whatever is left is automatically, once the control comes to default, it will execute that, because it's not testing anything. So suppose the value is 5, 6, 7, -7, so it will execute default value. Once again, switch, within the parenthesis arithmetic value, arithmetic expression, then the body of the switch statement enclosed in the braces, curly brackets. Then you have got multiple cases that you can test, and this is the general syntax of the switch statement. The integer expressions following the keyword switch is any C expression that yields to an integer value. ये character भी हो सकता है, because you know कि character की जो value होती है वो एक integer value होती है. ASCII की case में it is from 1 to 127 printable characters, and from 128 to 255 some graphics and non-printable characters, but they have got some integer value. So that's why you can always test 1, 2, 3, 4 के साथ single quotes में A, B, C, then you can also test. It could be an integer constant like 1, 2, 3, or an expression that evaluates to an integer. मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ पहले भी. The keyword case is followed by an integer or a character constant. ये case के बाद there is a constant 1. So you can say case 1, case 2, case 3, case A, because that is also an integer value. Each constant in the case must be different from all other cases. एक जैसा case आप दो जगह पे नहीं रख सकते. The do this lines in the above form of switch represents any valid C statement. जो हमने do this लिखा है, do this, do this, do this, you can use any valid C statements to perform do this. So this is an example. I is equal to 2, switch I. You can read the value of I from the keyboard. Then you can put a test. Case 1, any value. If I is equal to 1, see out I am in case 1. Break. What this break will do, will force the system to go out of this switch statement. It will not test 2, it will not test 3, it will not go to default. So usually we put a break whenever any case is successful, either 1 or 2 or 3, we use a break statement that we have been successfully inside the any valid case statement, and now we want to break out. But if it doesn't go here, it doesn't go here, means it's not part here, does not here, does not go here, then automatically it comes up here. I am in a default case. Output, I am in case 2 because the value of I was equal to 2, so it was basically here. Okay, so Be careful of the syntax: case, constant, colon, statement, terminated by semicolon, break keyword, terminated by the semicolon. Very important that you follow this syntax to execute this switch statement. Okay. So, dear students, now we have completed all the iterative structure of the C language. Iterative structure कहते हैं you keep on repeating the same statements as many times as you want, and this we can do with the help of loop. So we have studied for loop, we have studied while loop, we have studied do while loop, and another very interesting example where you can test a loop which is maybe executed once because you want to do one of the any possible activity. So you can use the switch statement. So at this point you have got sufficient knowledge to write down quite a good number of programs. So maybe I'll be giving you a few assignments at the portal to do the exercise, to carry out the exercise for all these loops and perform the testing. This is a good opportunity to learn other concepts you have learned in parallel with this control structure. हमने control structure if भी पढ़ लिया है, हमने control structure loops के भी पढ़ लिए हैं. Now the other things that we have learned is the operators, the assignment operator, the conditional operators, the logical operators, the relational operators that we have studied. So I advise you to do the practice, lot of practice. I have recommended you books, the textbook as well as the reference book. Please try all the solved example given in your book and in your reference book. The more practice you will perform, the more expert you will be for the computer programming. It is not just passing this particular course. This is a very, very basic fundamental course that makes you an expert of an IT. Without programming, you cannot be an expert of IT. You have to learn this programming because you have to apply it in one way or the other in your IT professional career. With this advice, piece of advice, I say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.